always say about sneaker culture, right, is that number one, we're too welcoming.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you like kicks? Me too. Oh yeah, come sit with us. You know, so it's like, and I call it Sweet Valley High.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we're still a bunch of big old kids, right? And what happens is you have people, and I posted this the other day, that buy into culture.
Oh,
right?
for sure. Yeah.
They buy into culture because they just want, you could tell they want a friend.
Yeah.
You could tell they never been cool. Now they got some bread and now they want to hang out with us at the table, right? Yeah. Those are the ones that through longevity, you see them bow out. So you see the ones that were once the it people on the gram, no longer there. Why? Because they bought in for a little while, made their friends, found their passions. And you know what? Kudos to them because they came in and they found real people.
What's good, everyone? Welcome back to My First Kicks. This is episode 230. And this week we got a returning guest, one of the OGs of the podcast. Welcome back to the podcast, Jixie. I was gonna go Kicksy Jixie.
I know everyone calls me by my social media name, Kicksy Jixie.
You want to go? You want to do full Jasmine?
Yeah, jazz, yo. So it's crazy because I really, people be like, yo, Kicksy. And yo, nothing irks me more. I did that as a way for you to know that Jixie likes kicks, right?
Yeah.
But people just picked up the name Kicksy. And, you know, I'm a grown-ass woman. And that really, really, really gets like, it makes me cringe in 2025. I'm like, Kicksy, ooh, okay. But, you know, it comes with a lot of love, so I get it. So thank you for having me back. I can't believe we're running this back.
Yo,
I feel honored.
Look. You're on the list. I got a list of people I have to get back on the podcast. You were on that list, and then you pressed me a couple of times, and I gotta admit, sometimes I get ADHD when it comes to guests because I'll be like, ooh, that person hit me up. I gotta get them on right now. Like it's like whatever happens.
Know what? When we did it before, it was just audio, right? And then. But I really liked the audio. I liked the actual graphic for it. I thought the release of it was so dope. But I'm like, yo, I started seeing everybody come through and I'm like, yo, it's visual now. And I'm like, now people could really see the chemistry. You know, we talk offline when we're like, we see each other. And there's so much that we talk about like with kicks, releases, things like that. So it's just like, yo, I just wanted everybody to see how we give it up.
Nah, yeah, for sure. I mean, when we met up at the No Ideas Original, shout out everybody that pulls up. Yeah. Everybody that pulls up to the No Ideas Originals, like outside events. And the one that we met up at was it wasn't Winter Wars, it was the other one. That's like it was like the spring one that he does. It wasn't the polo one. It wasn't the North Face. Man, he does a lot.
It was, and you know why I'm blanking? Because I just went to the last meetup, which was the start of summer.
So it was the start of summer.
It was the start of summer.
But 2024, right? That's when it was.
And that's crazy. It's been a minute.
Yeah, and then this is because I really wanted to catch up with you from your first appearance to now, and you know we were talking about. This is when you told me about the Jordan 1 that you were working on, and you were like.
Yo, it's crazy. I still, you know what? I still can't get over like that. I was, you know, given an opportunity to work on a team that pitched a sneaker, was part of the design process, was really part of challenging the brand. So it's really dope to have like a Jordan. And when people be like, yo, what's your favorite sneaker? I always leave that one out because it hasn't settled in yet. But it was a project of, you know, it was a love project because it means something. It's very meaningful. I'm very proud of what it means. So it's dope. And I definitely want to do another one. I want to do another sneaker so bad. Yeah. So
you got
it's
the
like
itch after the first.
I do. I want to do a Reebok.
Yeah.
I know I want to do a Reebok. Reebok hit me up because I've had this idea for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And I know because I collect so much Reebok, I just know that it's a hitter. So I'm looking forward to what the future brings. But now I got the design itch.
Yeah, let's go. I
got the itch for that.
So before we go further, introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are.
So I'm Jixie. My friends call me Jazz. I'm a sneaker collector. I'm a sneaker historian, an archivist, producer, writer. Like I've done a lot in the space. And and I'm just your homegirl. You're just a homie.
Yo, I didn't get to watch your on the what was it called? On the 2347.
Oh yeah, the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So 237 neighborhood, and it was a podcast on the stoop in Bed-Stuy.
Yeah.
Shout out to the guys. They were amazing. So they invited me to just come and talk about like sneakers, old Brooklyn, things we have in common. So it was dope because the questions, no one has ever asked me any of those questions. And I've been, on a few podcasts and stuff, no one has ever asked about like, coming up in the 90s and certain streets, being on certain blocks.
Right,
and being on certain
real. Things. It's real local.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping to be on an episode one time, talk about Corona for a hot second. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nah, that's dope. And it was a pleasure they recognize like, you was in this time period in that street, and that's where you was hanging out. Like you was about that. Like you had to know to be in certain places and fresh. So it was a great conversation. So I enjoyed it a lot.
That's dope. I've been seeing what you're doing, but I definitely want to talk about like, out of the pandemic, what was, because this is where we met, and then like your transition into like doing more sneaker things, like out of the pandemic, like where did you see yourself going? Because I felt like we were all boxed in, and then I was doing my sneaker shit, whatever, but like you were also, I kept seeing you pop up around.
It's crazy because before the pandemic in 2018, I co-founded Inner Souls with my business partner, my sister, my friend Yaya. Shout out to Yaya.
Shout out Yaya.
So we started Inner Souls. Inner Souls took off so fast.
Right.
We were featured on Footwear News. We were all over. We started having meetups. We started bringing the girls out. We started creating these safe spaces for us to just like, celebrate sneakers and educate, right? Because what we did was like our first event was a freestyle Reebok event. We just invited everybody out. You coming out in your Reeboks, you coming out to drip, and then I lined the walls with a lot of pairs of my freestyle highs. So I still actively collect freestyle highs. I have like 300 pairs. And what I do is I line the walls with like collabs and like really like important pieces, 1980s, 1990s Reeboks. And
they still hold together?
Yeah. And there's a bunch of younger and older women who were grouped together. And the younger women were learning. They had no idea. And then the older women were in nostalgia. So it was just a beautiful blend. So we started off, with there, and then we started progressing. Then COVID hit, and it was like, what do we do? So Clubhouse was amazing because I don't think like I don't consider myself a content creator.
Me neither. So, and I got so much pushback when I said that shit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a content creator, and I think for me, everybody knows it, right? Because I share pieces of my life. I just live in kicks.
Yeah.
Right? So me, I'm not sitting there. If you know me, I have the hardest time staying still for a picture. So it's like certain of my friends who are content creators, they're the most amazing because what they do is they figured me out. And they're just like bouncing with me. And they're like, nah, Jazz, you just gonna run past here 100 times and we're gonna get it in. So after, during COVID, we met in Clubhouse, and I think I met like the most amazing people because they were the storytellers. They were the people who really had something to say. And I think I found my people. So I was really excited to meet the people that I met. But also Clubhouse, as you know, was also a place where I was bullied.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I was bullied on Clubhouse. The guys wanted me off. I was accused of like opening rooms and doing all these things that at the time we were just chilling. And, we were just like kicking it and talking shit. That's what we
that was what it was about.
That was the name of the room. We was kicking it and talking shit. So, one thing is if you're going to come and challenge me and you're going to bully me, then I'm gonna show out, right? Because one of the things is I know I'm a deep, prolific thinker in the sneaker space. So that's when we started creating like actual rooms to discuss like the rise of the female sneaker culture.
Yeah, I remember one of those rooms. You pressed me in one of those rooms.
Boom, that whole Clubhouse. Shout out, yeah. Like that's we are a dynamic duo because between the programming and just being able to engage people, you know how hard it was to get over 1,000 people for 2 hours in a room?
Yeah.
Tough. Times 6 times. Yeah. So it was like when we are intentional and we do things, it resonates, right? Because I was really sick of in Clubhouse just hearing like pink it and shrink it complaints.
Yeah.
And until this day, I can't listen to too much complaints, right?
Yo, I'm the same way with you.
So I was like, oh, this is so much complaining. And I just wanted to change the space because there's a lot. We ain't where we want to be 100%, but there was a lot to celebrate.
Yeah.
So,
but it's also just like, and I've been telling people this too. It's just like, if you want to see change, it's got to start with you first.
Yeah.
If you want less people to stop, like I'm big. I've always said this from the jump, and I think I said this in Clubhouse. You got to cater your timeline. Like if you just follow people that complain, you also are you're gonna be a complainer as well, and you're gonna fall into.
And you're gonna fall into that. So it's like how I feel about Twitter now. Twitter's like angry sneaker space,
big time.
So. In Clubhouse, you know, we changed that environment, we changed the narrative, and there was so much to talk about and discuss. So after that, it was difficult to find my footing. You know, I suffered a loss. I lost my mom.
Sorry.
And my mom was the reason that I love sneakers. You know, my mom was OG sneakerhead #1, you know, and then my pops. So I didn't even want to see my sneaker room. So coming out of COVID and losing my mom, I was born again.
Yeah.
Brand new. And I had to find my footing all over again in the space. And it wasn't easy because for a long time, I'll be 100% honest, I didn't think I had a space. You know, coming out of COVID and seeing like that was the boom of the creatives.
Yeah.
Right? So you had the boom of the creatives. You had the people creating the shows. You had the unboxing. The brands were changing. I just didn't think I had a space anymore.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of, you know, I didn't go in my sneaker room for 2 months because I was just like, reminded me of my mom. So I was like, nah, I don't even want to see a sneaker right now. So finally, when I went back in there and I was like, okay, I'm here. And then the Jordan Women's Collective happened. Right. And that was a blessing because it kind of took me out of that funk. It was work because what the Jordan Women's Collective does is they invest in women that are giving back to the community to continue to support our initiatives and what we're doing. So that was a year of work. Like heavy work. Like we're traveling, we're creating, we're producing sneakers, we're designing. So it's just like it was a lot. And I'm so grateful for that experience.
How did that make you feel? Like being part of that?
Being from the culture, right? And being someone who started off as, you know, a kid who loved J's, you know, and then being recognized by the brand as just somebody who was pushing culture forward. It was surreal. And, you know, Jordan Brand, shout out to them. They got super personal because it was like, I know I am a great female sneaker collector. But I'm so humble about it. Like, I'm not outside like, when I could be. And part of it is just, I want to give other women space to grow and not be intimidated. So I always dimmed my light a little bit. And what the Women's Collective taught me was to bang on my chest.
You should,
And I was super grateful for that experience. And I'll give you one example. We go out one night, we schedule for dinner. So all the women are paired with a guest, right? So we're all at this dinner, we're all paired with a guest. So I see the name tag on the table, but I didn't look at it yet. So I was like, I wonder who it is. So geeked out. I saw it was Cheryl Swoops.
Wow.
So I'm here. I'm like,
what?
So I'm having dinner with Cheryl Swoops tonight. And, you know, that was crazy because from that moment on, you know, Cheryl was like, you're a GOAT. You're a GOAT. I'm like, you're a GOAT. And she was like, you're a GOAT. And it's because I still got her sneakers. Right? I still and I was showing her the pictures. Look, I got this one. She's like, that's insane. So, you know, we got to talk about like, I always noticed, because I always loved basketball. I grew up, you know, I got uncles, brothers. So we grew up in a basketball. My grandmother has basketball on TV. Like, that's just how we grew up. So watching her, I always noticed her nails. And I always noticed that she held the ball with the tip of her nails. And so we started talking about her ball handle and her nails and how it affected her game and things like that. And her sneaker was actually designed, the heel tab was so she could put the sneakers on with her nails.
That's crazy.
So it was like, we got to have the most amazing conversations. And, you know, that helped me to kind of just be okay with being great and accepting, you know, like, damn, you put in a lot of muscle into this, you know, own up to that. So it really became about the work instead of the collection. So shout out to those experiences, because that really helped shape me to what I am now.
I hope you've been enjoying this episode with Jixie. I wanted to jump in just to remind y'all to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on this episode. It will go a extremely long way. And if you've been listening to this on audio, please leave a review, whether it be Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That also goes a really long way and will help the podcast grow. And if you're interested in helping the podcast even more, you can sign up to my Patreon at patreon.com/myfirstkicks. You know, got tiers, and every week I'll be adding new names and new people that sign up each week to the end of the podcast for their Patreon shoutouts. So you can be named at the end of this next week's episode, like I'm going to name some at the end of this week's episode, just by signing up to patreon.com/myfirstkicks. But back to the episode.
And pay the WNBA players with their O, please.
I mean, look, we've come a long way. We are going to get there.
Yeah.
We're going to get there. It takes a lot, like, business-wise.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? It's the sponsorships. It's really making sure that those games are full, that those tickets are sold, right? They're getting more and more sponsorships. It's beautiful to see. Look at where we are with WNBA sneakers right now. Like, look at where we are with WNBA sneakers, between,
Asia,
Puma, Stewie, Sabrina's, like All-Star Weekend, they went crazy.
Yeah.
And now Angel Reese with Reebok, right? So the sneakers are looking good.
Yeah.
They're finally putting performance. They're testing them, right? Because back in the day, they didn't test women's kicks, right?
They just put them out.
And let's keep it a buck, right? Let's keep it a buck. Back then, women's sneakers that was created, so the signature lines that were created, it was on repurposing men's molds, right? So it wasn't really made for the biomechanics of women.
Yeah.
So now we in a space where biomechanics for a woman, for the game played by a woman, right?
Exactly.
So shout out to them, because if they keep putting out the innovative product, we are going to get somewhere. My only critique is that those pairs stop at a certain size.
Right, yeah.
They're women 13, size 14.
Right,
they need to be in that product. And, I'm a big advocate for that. So you already know. The big girls need their clothes and they need their sneakers. Dang it.
It should be able to, you should be able to get a shoe to everybody. Like, it shouldn't, like cutting it off or whatever. Like, make like 3 or 4, runs or whatever. Like, it's fine.
What's crazy is, that Fila Disruptor that came out. I was so over it. I hated it. I couldn't even look at it. But that sneaker was sold out everywhere. Macy's, like all these department stores, because the size 13, 14 was always there. So, women who weren't able to participate in popular sneakers were able to participate in that one.
Yeah.
So that one was a banger. But these sneakers right now, WNBA, makes sense, right? WNBA players, basketball players, young basketball women need sneakers.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Let's go with those sizings.
Yeah, let's get it. So then you got to sit down with Cheryl Swoops.
It's crazy.
So then what do you take from that, and like where did you move forward after that?
Sitting in my creative and observing a lot more and getting to know a lot more of the younger culture, young sneaker culture. So I was able to take like a lot of my past experience. I started collecting sneakers in the late 90s, right? So
as touched on in episode 1.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think that was episode 14 or something like that. It was a double digit number.
So I started collecting in the 90s. And when I started collecting, I was traveling to buy kicks everywhere. So, I would go, as I got older, now I would go to Netherlands. I spent time in the UK for school, so I was around. And I was buying sneakers in all those places, sending them back. I had cousins in the army. Damn. So I had a cousin in Japan. I had a cousin in Guam.
Damn.
So it was like, Philippines.
You was getting
Philippines, shout out to the Filipinos. They was the first like cultural, like they grouped up and literally was like, we love kicks.
Yeah.
Like they were the first to be like, we love kicks.
Yeah,
together.
when I was heavy in SBs, that's all the people that I was talking to were mostly Filipinos. So
yeah. So I used to get sneakers from there and notable stores. So, all of that history and all of that experience I've never really documented.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've never really put it out there.
Yeah.
And now after, you know, all those experiences, I've created so much content and pieces, which is about to come out. Your big project, big project coming out.
New exclusive.
So I'm able to verbalize this.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was braggadocious, right? So it was just like, yeah, I've been to the Netherlands, caught my Air Max 90s there, you know. But now I'm able to put it into perspective with like everything I've learned. And I went back and I did some retro learning through some of my mentors that I wanted to go over certain parts of like culture with. So like that predates us, right? So 1920s, 1930s. So I wanted to do some research. So I'm a big nerd.
Yeah.
So one thing is super nerd, always been just super nerdy and proud of it. So I wanted to do some more digging. So I spent a lot of time researching, writing, documenting. I also went through my old diaries. So I have a lot of my old diaries and my journals. I've journaled my whole life. A lot of entries of sneakers.
Yeah.
And I talk about sneakers to myself.
That's crazy.
So I don't know if that's special or not.
That's definitely special. I don't think it, I don't.
But
there's
you know, on the spectrum, I don't even know. like
we spectrum friendly here.
No, but like I sit here and I'm like, why did that affect me so much? Like, you know, why did I take that long to lace? Like, I mean, I had some notes to myself about like lacing for like 2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah, like I had like lacing.
I'm trying to go.
Like I was lacing and I was young. So I'm in my room, I'm lacing, I'm chilling and listening to music. Like it's just like, I don't know, ritualistic.
That's like meditation.
Yeah. So,
like
but I reflect on it now because I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Because like this has just been things that I've done my whole life.
Yeah.
So it's super exciting now to put that all together. And to see how deeply connected, you know, I know I'm deeply connected, but like to see it in a space where I'm able to like present it. And that's important for me because it stamps our women have always been here.
Yeah, of course.
Right. And it stamps that. But when you go online and you look for our history, there's a big gap between 2000 and 2018.
Yeah.
Huge gap.
Yeah.
Even in product, right? I own some sneakers that I can't find online. And I'm like, why don't you find these? Like they were women's only sneakers. Like when you talk about like women's Air Pillars, right? When you talk about like a woman's TL, a woman's TN. Like throughout history, we've had a lot of women's exclusives.
I also feel like I mean, because we talked about this like maybe like the first or two times, but like the dunk wedge, like that I feel like got erased from history.
It did, but it's still it goes on my top 10 list. It's still on my top 10 list. I love it. But it has a small part of just what you see online is just like the specs for when they were releasing. You see it on Nice Kicks, you see it on like a few websites. But at the end of the day, before then, like, you know, the Cornbury, like Air Max 95, the packs for women. Right?
I was gonna bring up the boot, the Air Max 95 boot.
You don't see none of that, and those like boomed in the hoods. You know, they were like super popular. So a lot of that, if I don't present my collection and these stories, then they're not online. So it's like there's a lot for me to do. So all of this has inspired, you know, what's my legacy gonna look like? Right? So what am I leaving behind and what's my legacy? And, you know, my family asked me too, like, what do you want to do with your kicks? You know, in the future, like, you passing them down to somebody? What are you doing? And I'm like, maybe they'll go in a museum. Like, I don't know. Like, they're still very well maintained because, you know, temperature control. I coconut oil my kicks a lot.
That's
like
crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
I never knew that one.
You take leather, you coconut oil, you condition it like skin. Coconut oil is, you know, you take care of leather like skin. Synthetics is a little different.
Yeah, I'm not a big leather person. I'm a suede person. So
glue is different. The glue is different, but it reacts to temperature. You know, so keeping them cool, keeping that not moist. How you store them is important. So, you know, being that I have like right now, I have my oldest sneaker is like I have a 79 in my collection.
79? 1979?
1979.
Crazy.
I have a 79. I have original Reeboks from 85. I don't have an 82. So I have freestyle highs from 85. Then when we enter the 90s, original kamikazes. So
Yeah.
Raymans, Orlandos, you know, all my Reebok Shacks, you know, all of that.
Pre-seasons, Emmets.
Yeah, Grant Hills. So,
Yeah.
you know, I still have all of those.
Yeah.
And then I have my 90s Air Max, my first foams, like, you know, Tim Duncan's. They look trash though. Like some of them are just super trashed. I have them in a way that I can restore them. But I have a lot of like just old sneakers. So that's the archives.
Yeah.
And then, you know, my current sneakers, which is they live with me and they're a hot mess. So
Even
now
these
what I
right
want to
here,
do.
you got to show these off real quick.
Oh yeah. So then I have
You know, little Swarovski.
a little flex. So, you know, I keep it current. You know,
Yeah.
one thing about like being an OG.
Uh-huh.
So
So you consider yourself an OG? Or do people call you an OG?
I am 42 years old in the
Yeah.
sneaker game. I am definitely a veteran and I'm so proud of it. Like
Yeah.
I've been doing sneakers since the 90s, copping, you know, I'm part of the sport of sneaker collecting, you know. I don't play ball, right? I'm not an athlete.
Yeah.
But what I will do is I will get that sneaker by any means necessary,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm like a sharpshooter. You ever see it? Sometimes I post a picture of a shark after my post because I consider myself sneaker jaws. I will take that sneaker and I'm gonna have it.
Yeah.
Like the Nike app, you look at my phone, is not even updated.
Yeah.
Sneakers is not updated.
Nah.
That's not my method.
Yeah. No.
It's never gonna be my method.
Yeah.
I'm in these streets. So when it comes up to like what I do, the art of getting that sneaker, and it's not to be hype because a lot of my sneakers were not hype, and that's what makes my collection like special. But for me personally, I'm trying to finish collections, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to finish certain like pandas, right? I love pandas, so I have a lot of panda sneakers.
Yeah.
Right, iridescent. I love iridescent.
I'm
so
a big iridescent
I'm
person.
gonna go across across different brands.
Yeah.
With iridescent. So there's just things in my collections that I love. You know, bins, gammas, the element packs,
Yeah.
fives.
Yeah.
So a big five. You know, a big five person. So I'm gonna go across and I'm gonna keep finding the sneakers that I want. And for me, that's part of the sport. You know,
Yeah.
freestyles right now. Reebok Freestyle still has certain collaborations. So I'm still going to go out and look for those specific collabs.
Yeah.
So now in 2025, it's like, as a person who's seasoned, experienced, right? What I'm looking at is I'm looking at a lot of stuff that I have.
Yeah.
And they're in great condition. So it's like, boring.
Right.
So I have a difference of opinion, but what I never wanted to be was someone who couldn't connect with the younger generation who likes sneakers.
Same,
Because I
yeah.
feel like they did that to me. I feel like it was like, oh, you like those? I'm not into those no more.
No, yeah.
I don't buy those no more.
They probably
uncomfortable.
that's probably was the biggest problem, and that's what I was like, always been like. I'm never gonna be that person when it came to that.
Like a big Joe Button of sneakers.
Yeah, no,
I don't want to be a sneaker button.
But it's funny how I do this now, and I receive pushback on it because I'm always like, yo, sneakers are for everybody. Like I get it. I'm the type of person that's just like, yes, I have my own set of rules or whatever that I follow, but I'm never gonna go to somebody and be like, yo, my guy, you doing that wrong. Like I'm never gonna
give me an example of what.
Like I remember growing up and people were always like, yo, you're not considered a sneakerhead unless you have a pair of black cement 3s.
Oh yeah.
Infrared 90s. And then what was the other one? Or like I think it was maybe like Chicago ones or something like
Right.
that. And then it was like I kept being like, yo, I only collect SBs. Like
True.
this is during my time when I was collecting SB 2006, 2007. And I was like, this is all I can, like, this is all I want right now. And they were
Right.
like, you ain't no fucking sneakerhead, get out of here. And I'm like, nah, like I love the culture, bro. Like get the fuck out of here.
Isn't that crazy how it just like context changes throughout the years?
Yeah.
So when I was younger, you know, I remember one day my aunt was like, telling somebody in my family, don't talk to her, she's just a sneakerhead.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't talk to her, she's just a sneakerhead.
Oh, we gonna talk about this today, huh?
And it's like, what's that supposed to mean? And it means that I didn't know nothing but sneakers.
Yeah.
So it was derogatory. I had to learn, as an old head, I had to learn how to embrace that word.
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to let the new era redefine it for us. And it took everything. And I was in a campaign for eBay.
Yeah.
And the campaign was female sneakerhead.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yo, it took twisting and turning for me to be a part of that and for me to embrace that.
Yeah.
But you know what? That was the time that I did that soul searching. And that was the time that I spoke to so many people about the context of that word in this era and where it came from. After that, I could safely call myself a female sneakerhead. Now I could say it. But what I went through back then, nah.
I mean, this is what
I fought off the word. I was like, nah, don't call me that. I'm going to fight you. You call me that.
Don't talk to me like that. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Throw up your hands. Like it was crazy.
I had this conversation with, and I was telling my boy this yesterday. I had this conversation with somebody that is a content creator within the the Gathering space.
Okay.
And he was just like, because I'm telling him, I'm like, yo, I'm telling him like, hey, I do this thing. It's called I do a podcast about sneakers. About sneakers. And then he was like, what do you feel like is your biggest hang up with your audience? And I was just like, I think people in sneakers think they are too cool. Like when it comes to everything about it, it's always this like, it's like you have to realize when you are a fan of something to the point where I wake up thinking about, oh shoot, I remember fucking Avengers, the Avengers SBs coming out. Like I like that. Like if you wake up thinking about something like that, bro, you're a fucking nerd. Like just accept it. You're a nerd. And we didn't like nerds growing up.
Or we were taught that it was a bad thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, now we live in this world that nerds are cool. Like people was running through the hallways with Naruto hands and being like, yo, he's fire, he's awesome. Like, it's crazy.
What I always say about sneaker culture, right, is that number one, we're too welcoming.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you like kicks? Me too. Oh yeah, come sit with us. So it's like, and I call it Sweet Valley High.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we're still a bunch of big old kids, right? And what happens is you have people, and I posted this the other day, that buy into culture.
Oh,
right?
For sure. Yeah.
They buy into culture because they just you could tell they want a friend.
Yeah.
You could tell they never been cool. Now they got some bread and now they want to hang out with us at the table, right? Yeah. Those are the ones that through longevity, you see them bow out. So you see the ones that were once the it people on the gram, no longer there. Why? Because they bought in for a little while, made their friends, found their passions. And you know what? Kudos to them because they came in and they found real people. Yeah. Because you know what? The authentics and the genuines in the space, real people. Yeah. So I have many friends who don't do sneakers and don't collect sneakers and love them, and they've been great people to get to know. But we're so welcoming, and it's just like I don't think we could define ourselves in one way. So I think we don't have a set of rules that says this is what makes you a sneaker, head.
Not now. I don't think so anymore.
Right. And what I do is, people always ask me how many sneakers you have. And I don't like answering that question because what happens is I don't want to make people feel less than or more than, right? So, I had to struggle with that question for a long time. And I'm like, oh, that's like asking a lady her age. Like, what are you saying? Like, that's a personal question for a girl. But, I always, now I'm comfortable with it. I'm 4 digits. I've been in 4 digits for 15 years already. So it's just like, and I downsize all the time. Yeah. And I make a freaking mess again. And it's not glamorous, right? And I admire these walls. These women, they have these content set up. Yeah. White shelves, beautiful, nice closets,
little LEDs lights, in there, yeah.
And I'm like, I got 4 walls of Container Store drop fronts with no doors on them, right? Because they need air. Yeah, I feel like they suffocate, so they need air. Yeah. Then I build 4 walls of boxes in front of them, right? I'm up to the 3rd one right now. Jesus. So now, unless I really remember. And I got to look at the back wall to remember what section we in. So I'm like, all right, that's Diodora. All right, so they're in there, but they're newer, but not that new. So they're in the 2nd. Yeah. So here I am playing Tetris. Moving my sneakers around. Yeah. And, every space I've moved, multiple times. And I make bigger space for myself. All it does is just make room for me to do this more. Yeah. Right. And mind you, I give away sneakers. My best friends come over and I'm like, here, I got 2 pairs for you, 2 pairs for you. Yeah. And then last year I gave to the women's shelter about 200 pairs of sneakers. Wow. And I'm just like, take that. And they were like, we wish it was multiple sizes. It's just like one size range. Yeah. But I still gave those away.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, my mom, I used to give her a bunch of sneakers, my cousins, like, so I'm always just getting rid of stuff, but I accumulate again. And I just wish that I can make my space more glamorous, but I'm okay now with a little bit of imperfection. Because what I see in the space now, especially TikTok, what TikTok introduced was just like
cookie cutter.
Yeah, being real and authentic, but not where we were on Instagram, which was like production, full production.
Yeah.
So grateful for that.
No, yeah. I forgot the initial question. No, you were saying about
we always
I do because I want to expand more on like I want you to expand more a little bit more on the acceptance of everybody, especially within the space.
You be wanting to get into culture, and it's crazy.
Yeah, this is what this year I've said this several times. Like this year, this is all about. Like I want people to explain to the listeners what culture is, because I do feel like. And this has been my journey this year, because I do feel like we're in this world of 2025. Nobody really understands what culture is. Everybody thinks everything's culture now. Right. And so
it's so true.
Yeah. And yeah,
I think there's a big difference, number one, with in real life culture, right? And what does that include? And then what we see online every day, right? People think because they participate online, they're part of culture. And I think number one, you have to be part of a real life movement, right? Yeah. We're part of a movement, right? And we have the opportunity to, I don't know, redefine the world through this movement. There's so many of us. Yeah. And where people forget is there's a big difference between sneaker culture and sneaker marketing.
Yes.
Right? Because I personally, and I've been called an elitist, a snob about this, I don't necessarily think that some actions and some content that we do online is for the betterment of the culture, right? Yeah. So I think that certain actions online is just for sneaker promotion and sneaker marketing. And I think that a lot of content creators, in order to pump out content on that algorithm, right? Yeah. In order to post every day, you have to accept the free sneaker. You have to accept free things, right? In order to get more work.
Yeah.
And that has taken people that really love sneakers and turned them into maybe a watered down version of what they would be in the culture if they weren't trying to pump out content every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that there's a lot of people who are good at it, right? So I have some friends that are amazing at being able to take this content and take these pieces and take these sneakers, make it authentic to themselves, and actually put out something that makes people happy, right? Because when we go online, we go on our phones, we want to be happy. We don't want to be sad. So I think they do a great job with that. But I think that now there's a fine line between that marketing line and then culture, and who's driving culture, right?
Yeah.
I think the brands are driving a lot of culture right now, right?
Yeah.
Because the only time you really group up is at a release. The only time you group up is at an event. And it's like that in itself is bad, because we're allowing the brands to really dictate what we're celebrating, right? Yeah. So we're celebrating a certain sneaker, we're celebrating a moment. They capture the content, and now that's what the image of sneaker culture looks like. Right?
Yeah.
So if we define culture, right? What defines a culture is your own holidays, your own foods, your own language, right? Folklore, how you pass that down, right?
Yeah.
We have that.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I'm like, yo, that's dope, is that, you know, OG or VS or VVDS? Like, you know, what is that, right? So VNDS. So, you know, if I'm talking, another sneakerhead is going to know what I'm saying, right?
Exactly.
So we have our own language. And then Air Max Day, it's our holiday, right? Yeah. Qualifies us. And there's other holidays. They're just not as big, right? You got Reebok's Day, you know, 5411, 54. So there's a bunch of holidays that we have. And then there's folklore, right? There's legacy, there's stories. So that we pass down. Qualifies us as a culture. I told this to Clark Kent, because he never liked calling us a culture.
No,
he calls us a community.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll give you a little kind of point for that. It was like little, but it ain't
it's
there.
It's a culture. So. I hated that he said that it wasn't a culture, because
R.I.P. to Clark.
R.I.P. to Clark. But I always thought, sneaker culture is a thing mainly because of like, in order to have culture, you do have to have community, but community comes first.
Yeah.
And then the community builds the culture.
I mean, we sliced off of hip hop.
Yeah.
Right. So we
It's a
sliced.
subgenre.
Yeah. We were a subgenre of hip hop.
But
and we grew.
Yeah. I actually, to be honest, I think sneakers are more a subculture of Black culture than it is of hip hop, because like I do understand that like, yo, pull up with the Adidas with the fat, like I get that, but it was also kind of just,
you want to go there?
No.
You want to go there? Why you be wanting to go there?
I say it's more Black culture because hip hop, right? Yes, 5 elements, all of that, right?
True.
But none of the 5 elements is staying fresh.
So
staying fresh is Black culture,
right? Urban culture is what birth sneakers, right?
Yeah,
the urban culture.
Yeah.
Right? Let's pinpoint that. Let's bring that back to New York, right? So we have hip hop, we have the emergence of hip hop.
Yeah.
Hip hop has its elements, DJing, b-boying. So now you have certain players in that paradigm. You have sneakers that are needed, right? The b-boys need sneakers.
Yeah.
The b-boys knew which sneakers were good for spinning, freezing, which ones needed traction, which ones you couldn't move with.
Yeah.
So if we go back to like Run DMC, right? They wore the Adidas with the no laces and the tongue straight up.
Yeah.
That's part of prison culture, right? That comes from prison culture. That's straight from the streets, right?
Yeah.
Sneaker culture comes straight from them streets. So they wore them up. But now, at the same time, you had the Puerto Ricans in sneakers, right? In New York.
Yeah.
They wore fat laces.
Right, yeah.
Right? They took them off the Pumas, starched them, ironed them, and threw them on crispy.
Right.
Now the Puerto Ricans will go and they would change the colors up to match their fits. Right?
Yeah.
They will go and draw on them.
Right.
They will put the Puerto Rican flags on them. That was the very early start of customization.
Yeah.
Right? So there's so much.
And then you have my bad, but you have the Clydes coming in.
Right.
And
Even before that, right?
Yeah.
The idea of wearing clean white sneakers, that's a OCD obsession that Puerto Ricans had with like crispy white. So back then, it was like you had to clean your sneakers every single time you walked out the house with them, right? That was it's documented, it's very early culture. Then you also had, with that culture, you also had just a difference of two communities that were really, at the same time, pioneering cleanliness of sneakers, pioneering customization, pioneering all these different things at the same time. It gave sneaker culture its vibrancy, right? So now you have the B-boys, historically, the Puerto Ricans, right? They were the Crazy Legs and the Rocksteady crew.
Yeah.
Right? They were out there just doing their thing with testing out different sneakers. And as we move forward now, we have more people participating. Right? So now we have more options, right? Pro-Keds lasted way longer than they should because of Ricans, right? That was a sneaker of choice. So we had this culture that was already starting to flow, and we had this movement.
Yeah.
In New York, the drug plugs were the Spanish dudes. Right? So those were the first dudes that was really outside looking fresh. Because at the time, and when I mean fresh, I mean what we know now as sportswear. Right? So back in the day before, in the 60s and 70s, you had the players, the suits, the Frank
furs,
Whites, the furs.
Yeah.
You had them
big
outside.
Big gold dookie chain.
So you had them like that. But when it came up to sportswear, you had the OGs in the paper suits with the fanny packs, with the big knots of money inside. So it was very early culture that we saw, like the plugs were the Spanish guys. They were bringing the shit in from the islands.
Yeah.
And they were starting to birth this look of being Tony Montana, right?
Yeah.
So you Tony now, you got the Rolex, you got the jewels, and now the aesthetic that we know today that's been embraced by rap, right? So this is all New York history, right? And this is where sneaker culture is embedded in.
Right, exactly.
And it's super layered, and it's a super careful conversation. It's a careful conversation, and it's so layered because we don't want to take the culture and fully embed it in street and drug and the truths of where this culture stemmed from.
Right.
So we just call it Black culture.
Okay.
And to me, it's 100% to layer all those things and just put it to Blacks. It's like, no, let other people take the fall with that too.
Okay.
Right? So it's like, let the Ricans take the fall for their hot mess in this, right? Because it's so layered with even how sneakers traveled, right? You know, you had foams in New York, call them foams.
Yeah.
You got foams in DMV, right? Dopes. They were called dopes because it was the dope boys that was wearing them. And if you ever had a cousin or somebody that was older than you and you hear them, I'm going OT, you know they were part of that life, right?
Yeah.
So that's how sneakers were traveling up the I-95 and fashion in general. The Nike boots, you know, I'm going to give DMV theirs with the Nike boots because I was there in the 90s and I seen it.
Yeah.
And I was like, ew. Ew.
Yeah.
And then I came out here and I was Harlem. I saw Harlem in them. Why Harlem was in them? Because Harlem had them boys.
Right.
Right? So Harlem had those boys. So it was traveling. So the very early parts of sneaker culture, there's so much that modern America, our current brands will not glorify, don't understand, don't know, and especially the young people that's being hired in these brands definitely don't know anything about like the origins. So when, you know, people are online and like, who started this trend? Drug trade.
Yeah. From the jump.
From the jump. So it's big conversations in there, and each of these topics we could spend an hour on.
For sure.
Because there's so many details in it that it's crazy. But I used to like to pop out when I was younger. I used to like to pop out if somebody was going out of town. I'm like, where y'all going? Oh, we're going to VA. I'm going with y'all. No, you're not. And I'm like, yeah, I want to go because I want to go and shop and I want to go cop some kicks. And back then it wasn't like now, like regional sneakers, regional slang.
Yes.
Right? Regional names for sneakers.
Yeah.
Like in London, I was, what was it, the 90s? They call them 110s. And I'm like, they're like, oh, you did you find those 110s? And I'm like, what's a 110? I'm a sneakerhead. I know every sneaker. What's a 110?
I don't know what a 110
is. It's
is.
an Air Max 90.
Really?
Because it costs 110.
Oh.
So it's like our 5411.
Yeah.
So it's like you go everywhere, you got regional slang. And you have different sneakers that were popping in those places. So it's like now it's
everything's
everywhere.
No, I've been saying it. Sneaker culture is homogenized because there's no specific, like, you can't go to a specific area and be like, oh, y'all rocking these anymore. It's more just like everybody's just like, oh, what's the hottest trend? I'm on that.
Cheapest place where I used to find foam sitting was in Miami.
Yeah, 'cause it's probably too hot. It's probably way too hot to rock that shit down there.
I miss foams in Miami. Damn. I used to cop them easy, but it was just like, certain regions, Chicago, Mikes.
Yeah.
I never called them Mikes. You call them Mikes?
Hell no.
Nah, we didn't call them Mikes. So it's like Chicago, they call them Mikes.
Yeah.
Uptowns, we know them as Uptowns.
And then you got G Fazos.
In Chicago, they used to like mids.
Mids? I love mids. I'm a mids guy.
It wasn't an Air Force One. They didn't even acknowledge that part. It was just mids.
It was just mids?
It was just like mids. Oh, those mids. And I'm like, nah, I'm not wearing those, but heard you.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was so regional, from the product to the slang. And that's what defined us as a culture.
Yeah.
So that's why everybody argues LA, down south, New York, Chicago. They're like, no, we had it first. No, we all had our own regional slang, regional kicks.
Yeah.
And we had a culture that came from the hood.
Right, exactly.
And, we ain't have shit.
Yeah.
All we had was sneakers and how we looked.
Yeah.
So this was currency. It was a statement.
Yeah, social
right?
currency for sure.
Absolutely. So this is what told the world, yo, we part of being fresh, fly, dope, whatever you want to call it. We're part of this world, right? And we are also getting out of here, right? We're also working towards something. We got goals, right?
Yeah.
So we making a statement that we are about something. We got some bread. And that's what it all was about. So everywhere you go regionally, they had their own names, they had their own stuff. When certain sneakers died here, early 2000s, Air Max was quiet for Air Max.
Yeah, for sure.
95s, 97s, it was quiet for Air Max.
Super quiet.
But not in Europe. not in Europe. The girls in the Netherlands, Amsterdam, over there, they were in the Dutch wovens.
Yeah.
And they were in every 90, every 95 you could find, right? Same thing like Japan.
Yeah.
97s have always been alive.
Oh, for sure.
In
Big
Japan.
time. Yeah.
So now when we was here, American women are known for basketball sneakers, right? So when we look at the whole map, the global map of like women and sneakers and what's lit where, basketball sneakers is it. But, you know, I always say American Black culture is the most glorified, the most wanted, the most, we've influenced the most in the whole world.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
So shout out to America.
Shout out to America. Because we definitely really talked about culture. Do you feel like, I'm going to ask you this. Do you feel like people now understand, or like, do you feel like the people that are in sneakers now really want to understand what sneaker culture is, or do you think they're just part of it?
I think it's a personal experience for everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody ingest it and digest it a certain way. So I think that for people who want education, right, and they want to learn more, they are. Not everybody does, and that's okay. I think this idea that everybody has to define themselves in one way, it gotta go.
It's definitely
it gotta go. Because at this point, it's like, one of my favorite collections is an all Converse collection.
Yeah.
Somebody who has like every freaking Converse ever. It's beautiful. It looks amazing. The passion the person has for that sneaker is amazing. But it's like, is that person not a sneakerhead because you're not diverse? Is that person not a respected sneakerhead because you don't know anything about any other sneaker? You don't have a Michael Jordan. Like, it's just like gatekeeping. It goes back to gatekeeping.
Which I always say that this is what it's based out of. Like,
in Sweet Valley High, back to Sweet Valley High, right? The seniors, the super seniors and the seniors, they got to give some grace. And if we're not leading, right? If the leaders, and I'm going to use that word, you know, strongly, not loosely, like the internet likes to use it. If the leaders are not leading through mentoring, right? And I mentor a lot of younger sneakerheads. I have a sneaker office. The girls come through.
Right.
We work on projects. We do all kinds of things. We talk. And if people are not mentoring, you know, and giving game to this generation, how do they know? How do they know what sneakers they're supposed to start off with? How do they know how to feel their comfort and find their comfort, right?
Right, yeah.
So I always say, like, you know, you have brand loyalists. I think I'm the most versatile female sneakerhead.
For sure.
Like, in terms of like exploring every single brand, right? So I have 50% of my collection lives with Nike and Jordan, but 50% is evenly Diadora, Reebok, Adidas, Saucony, Aleeci, just every other freaking brand, Psy Collective, just like all the things, right? So when I sit there and I talk to, you know, younger people about sneakers, it's like, yo, you know what? Explore a different brand. That don't feel good to you, explore this one. Know your sizing, right? Know how to move in these different sneakers. Be open. Once you try it and you don't like it, then you can firmly say, I don't like it. But if you already just like going over hype, right? If you're looking at hype, or you're looking at these sneakers and like, oh, I can't hit on the app. If that's your only method, then you already lost. So it's just like, I think there's game we can give. And I think that gatekeeping is a big problem because some people think that there needs to be rules to this. And there really is no rules, but do you love this, right? Do you fucks with it?
That's the only rule there should be.
Do you love this?
Do you love this?
Right. Are you for real about this?
Exactly.
Or is you out here just trying to make friends, or are you out here trying to do business? And if you're trying to do business, there's nobody knocking you. There's so many people that crossed from other industries, right? As influencers, put themselves in sneaker culture and been super successful because brands want to use that engagement. Right? And they want to open up their audience. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm a businesswoman. That's what I do. And I think that it's important that we as a community separate community from business. And that's a real strong point.
But I don't think there's not many people. I've been posting. Oh my God, I've been posting on my socials like the whole. I don't know if you've seen a lot of these people, a lot of these like bigger content creators or whatever, like there's this guy that keeps posting about do not monetize your hobby. You don't have to monetize your hobby. And so you can just make your hobby your hobby. And I feel like I 100% believe what he's saying of just like, I feel like we've come into this digital age where if you're into something, you got to make a video about it. You got to show everybody that you love it. And then if you show everybody you love it, then you can make money off of it. And then like, it's just like, you can just love it.
If you feel pressured, I mean, if people feel pressured to do that, because people feel pressured to make money.
Yeah.
Right? It's like my niece. My niece has a doll collection. She collects the Monster High dolls. Shout out Sophie. So she has
big fan.
She has an incredible collection of like dolls, Monster High dolls from years, from little girl. So she doesn't have that posted. She doesn't have it online because it's personal to her, and that's how she interprets it, right? Yeah. She hasn't made the videos for them. She dresses them. She plays with them. That's just something that's personal to her. So it's all about how you connect, right? Not everybody's going to connect. Putting that into context with sneakers, not everyone's going to connect with sneakers in a way they want to present out. I definitely don't. I'm one of these people, like as many sneakers as I cop per week, some of them make it to the gram. Yeah. Some of them I'm still geeking. And I'm doing weird things with them in the house, like lacing them. I have one in the kitchen, one in the room, and I'm still like showing people on the phone as I call them. I'm making them talk. I'm doing dumb things. So it's like, it's personal. So some people, you know what? They love to speak and they love content and they love creation. And for them, that's it. I have a problem with if you're using that as a motive for something, right? So if you're using sneakers as a way to say, hey, like resellers, love resellers, got no issue with resellers. Resellers, half of my collection, if it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for how they hold me down on lines and the, you know, through the years, I wouldn't have it. But there are some resellers that know nothing. They're not for the people, not for the culture, not for nothing. They come in, I want to buy a sneaker, I want to go. That's it. With the intention. And there's just like, there's people in sneaker, you know, that come into the community, you enter the community, you just want to do something and go. Yeah. You have no... You're
not trying to add to this space.
You're not trying to do anything, right? So, and we've had that, you know...
I feel like that's more, I would say 60% of people that come into this are like that too.
There was an incident that I think it was like around the holidays that I felt really strongly about. It was a woman who was critiquing and criticizing women in our community. Yes. Right? And it fucked me up, to be quite honest. And, you know, I had to have people tell me to simmer down because one of the things is we work so hard, all the women, to be cool with each other.
For sure.
That's not easy. People forget at our core, all these unboxing and fit check girls, we all from the hood. Yeah. Right? We all from the hood. Our parents came from the hood. We are all aggressive women, right? Sneaker women are not the softest, right? And that's because, you know, this is a male-dominated space. It always has been. We understand that. Right. It's the psychology for us. So we worked really hard to be cool with each other, to get over some of the cattiness, to work on accepting each other's differences, right? For the sake of the fact that we're sisters and that we've experienced the same things, right? Yeah. We experienced being called tomboys. We experienced being looked down at. We experienced not feeling sexy. We experienced just all kinds of different things. And to have somebody from all the way outside the culture, outside of the community, not understand this about us and try to disrupt our peace, as you see, all of us is going to show out.
For sure.
You know, because we're going to protect our own. And one of the things that made me, you know, just upset about that is that the brands and the agencies that want to fill a room up with women to take pictures have no idea if that room even gets along. Yeah. So, and we in the community, when I see certain pictures and I'm like, they put who and what? And I'm like, oh, hell no. The authenticity just went out the window, right? Yeah. Because one of the things, and it's a hard space to navigate because as a brand, you know, you think your ears are to the street, but you know, none of the girls and even men, you don't want to turn off brands with some of our catty shit, right? I mean, sure. You know, on this side of town is loving hip hop. We're going to call it sneakers, loving sneakers,
loving
right?
Sneakers, yeah.
And on that side of the world, you know, when you're brand facing, you're prompt, You are professional.
Yeah.
So, we don't cross those lines. So I think it's been wild that, to see certain things that don't kind of like, they don't correlate from what we do in real life to what's being done with the brands. And I think the brands give voices to influencers.
For sure. So it's all
that are not
numbers game.
authentic to the culture. But in return, the brands are not getting a return on their investment. They're not getting the return on investment because can that person sell a sneaker? Is their audience even looking at them for a sneaker?
Nah.
Right? Does their audience even care? And when we think there's a lot of us, right? It's like super sneakerheads, people that love sneakers, but we really sit on top of it, on the algorithm. We really sit on top and the visibility that we have, and is more than what a lot of other industries have with their top influencers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think if we use it responsibly, in a way to not only push sneaker culture, but if we moved it, like we can move the needle in politics. We can move the needle with certain things. I think there's a lot that we can do besides just like sneakers. Yeah. But in that example with Homegirl and trying to disturb our peace, I was so proud of the women.
Oh, 100%.
I'm proud of just 100%. How everybody
Shout out to everybody that stood up for everybody else.
I'm proud of how the women stood up for everybody else, but I felt the guilt.
Yeah.
And the guilt that I felt is like, there was a comment about women. There's no women who can speak sneakers.
Oh my God, that pissed me off so bad.
And the first thing I thought was like, huh?
Yeah.
Fucking do donuts.
Yeah.
Donuts around dudes. Like, you want to talk tech?
Yeah.
Like, let's get into tech. Like, what you want to talk about a full Nike Zoom unit, partial unit on which sneaker, right? Which ankle break.
Yeah.
On what sneaker, on a LeBron 9, or we want to talk about the 15 and which feature had more stability? What sneaker has the most lateral movement, right? So you want to go into that, like between tech, culture, like I felt guilty because I'm like, yo, I do donuts around shorty, but I'll do donuts around a lot of dudes too.
For sure, yeah.
And that, I felt a certain guilt in that because it's like,
you do have to be more front facing.
I'm not outside on the front lines.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Listen to me, right? And big takeaway for that, because I felt so strongly about that.
Yeah.
People had to talk me off of like different ledges with that because I was blaming brands.
Yeah.
I was blaming brands and I was blaming media for highlighting this.
Yeah.
And I was blaming them because at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of sensationalism that is highlighted. But that's where every big, hip hop, there's sensationalism, TV. So I think just like everything else, there's a lot of entertainment in sneaker culture.
Yeah.
And I think we're in the early stages of that.
Yeah.
And we're going to see a lot more of that in like media.
Yeah.
So.
Well, perfectly said. I don't know. There's nothing else I can follow up with that. Let everybody know where to find you. Jixie on Instagram, Jixie on TikTok. I'm starting to talk my crap on TikTok too. You gotta do that.
Thank you for having me today. I mean, you asked, I was not even ready for any of these questions, but I'm so glad that we got to talk so candidly about all these things.
For sure.
And this show is popping. Let's talk about it.
I'm trying.
You fancy now. So I'm one of the fancy people.
Oh my God, I'm not fancy. And you know where to find me. I am Who Is Haas on all social medias. Follow the podcast at My First Kicks Pod. Please join the Patreon. It will help me out. Trying to grow this. And speaking of which, I'm going to toss it to myself as I do the Patreon shout out. So peace.
Thank you again for tuning in to this week's episode with Jixie. We really talked a lot about culture and sneakers and how she is making an impact. And you can make an impact on this podcast by becoming a Patreon subscriber by signing up to patreon.com/myfirstkicks. It will go a long way and you will get a shout out at the end of every upcoming episode. Much like these fine folks. So shout out to Adam Neustetter, Ross Adams, Derek Fresh Poetic, Adam Butler, and new Patreon subscriber, Just CG. I also just want to appreciate a lot of y'all that just tune in each week and tap in with me across the socials. It really means a lot to me as I try to add more to the culture that I hold near and dear to my heart. So I always make sure You will not be empty-handed, especially on Patreon. I got some behind the scenes coming, and we are just 5 patrons away from the first ever Patreon exclusive episode. Also, if you have any suggestions of what more you'd like to see, or even just like what more you'd only like to see on Patreon exclusively, like someone asked for more out of the box episodes, you can just directly ask there, because I'm always looking for suggestions of how to build the Patreon out more and how to build the podcast out more. So if you stuck around even after this ending, which is, I appreciate you, you can see more episodes with these 2 videos here, or subscribe to the YouTube. And as always, wear your kicks. Peace.